Conversations from the front lines of the talent supply chain. This is Higherside Chats. Join us as we delve into the world of talent acquisition and explore the latest trends, challenges, opportunities, strategies, and insights from the best in the business. Get inspired by industry pioneers and seasoned veterans and discover the secrets to building powerful talent functions from their experiences. Whether you're a CEO, a seasoned HR professional, a growing business looking to scale, or someone just starting in the field, there's something for everyone. Ready for the ultimate recruitment power-up? Let's go.
Welcome to another episode of Higherside Chats, your go-to podcast for the latest news, views, and insights from the dynamic landscape of the talent supply chain ecosystem. I'm your host, Sajay, and today we're going to talk about scaling businesses effectively and discuss one of the most important aspects of scaling, which is hiring and retaining top-notch talent. In this fast-growing landscape, startups are often racing to recruit the best minds to meet the soaring business demands. However, in the rush to expand and scale quickly, many companies lose sight of the retention strategies and fail to fully capitalize on an employee's skills. This oversight can obviously lead to a lot of wasted time, money, and of course, potential. In today's episode, we have Sreejith Moolayil, co-founder and COO at TrueElements, India's first and only certified clean label packaged food brand. Sreejith is a food enthusiast with close to a decade of experience in retailing, distribution, and brand building. In his past life, he was a human resources professional with extensive experience in India and in China. Stay tuned as we discuss the importance of scaling a business while using the right talent and implementing effective strategies for recruitment and retention. We'll also explore some real-life examples from the health food e-commerce sector for insights on how to avoid some of these common pitfalls. Whether you're a startup founder with big ambitions or a HR professional or simply interested in the dynamics of scaling a business, listen in as this episode dwells into the intricacies of talent strategies, the art of effectively scaling a business, analyzing critical considerations, demystifying the challenges, and unveiling the essence of a winning talent strategy. Welcome, Sreejith. It's an honor to host you in Higherside Chats.
Thanks a lot, Sajid. It's an honor to be here. Having worked with you for almost 7 years, all through my cognizance, I was with you. So it's an honor for me to be part of this platform. So thanks for this opportunity.
Great. So Sreejith, let's discuss the importance of talent strategy, especially in scaling a business. That's the core topic of today. Scaling is all about realizing the full potential in your business, which also requires planning, adapting to the market situations, and a very strong focus on identifying and grooming and retaining the right kind of talent within your organization. Now, let's begin by understanding the art of mastering this talent strategy, especially in businesses such as yours that you have scaled. Now, before we start, our listeners would like to know a little bit about your background. You were a very successful HR professional working in a Fortune company. Why did you land up as an entrepreneur, and that too in a very unrelated industry? So we would definitely like to hear that story.
Yes, that's one question which I've faced since I quit. Why did you quit? And then second part of that question is, everybody thought an HR guy will quit to start a consulting firm or a manpower firm. So why I quit is actually a journey which started during my MBA days. So I want to see a complete brand journey for myself. That is always there, but the ideas everybody has during college days, I also had. But the help which I got, my first company in TVS, they had a good library, and my factory was in Sriperumbudur. I used to stay in Chennai. Every day, 1 hour up and down journey. I had enough time to read, and the library was loaded with a lot of startup or business books. At the time, it was not startup, it was GE, Apple, and Microsoft kind of books. So that actually fueled my interest towards starting up. And then a few years down the career, I realized if you don't reach the top by early 40s or mid 40s, you might lose the game. And that will obviously happen for 98-97% of everybody from my MBA batch. That means only 3% will reach the top, and the rest will all be parking themselves somewhere on the pyramid. So I didn't want to be that, and that was second trigger. But these two triggers were the reason I wanted to quit, but there was no right time to quit. One EMI cycle starts, it's a spin, right? So it's coming out of that, need a lot of inertia, which took 7.5 years for me from MBA to move out. And then the space why health was thanks to you. because I was in China for 2 years within Cognizant. And that is the time the Chinese lifestyle and their eating habits got this health factor to my overall startup thinking. And 2 years in China, though the plan was to start in China, but after being in China for 2 years, I realized either I had to be marrying a Chinese to start up in China, which I didn't have an option. I was already married. Because being a Keralite and a law graduate, that's a deadly combination. Keralites have a lot of politics in their blood, and law graduate, a lot of democracy and all those virus in their blood. China was not the place where I could relate to. So I ran. And then I came back and then quit and started in health. I've been in health and food. This is my fourth startup. Three screw up between 2012 and 2016 end. TrueElements I started in 2017. Three screw ups which we shut down, but all was in the similar health, food, corporate wealth industries.
So I didn't realize you had three startups, failed startups before a successful TrueElements startup. So what was your biggest learning when these startups failed? How come TrueElements is a success story today? What did you do different?
Actually, first, this probably is a question which could be pertinent to a lot of people who are starting up. The starting up is easy, but staying put is a little difficult for first 3-4 years. That's my hypothesis. And my confidence for first 2-3 years that if I fail, I always had the backup of going back to Cognizant. You guys had told me come back whenever you need to, right? So I think first 2.5-3 years I had that in mind, and probably that is the reason why I didn't succeed in 5 years, because I had that backup in mind. And then after 3 years, I realized there is no way I can go back. This is where it is. And then one thing I realized was you may not become a multi-billionaire, right? But the journey is wonderful. You're learning, you're having fun. And money, we had the confidence someday it will get made if you stay put. Okay. And then we are human beings who live on hope. So there is some hope by luck or by God's grace was always there, which made sure that I stay put. And then I don't think there are so many variables which are beyond your control. So I cannot put one reason because of which it is where it is today. Right? There are 100,000 variables and 99% of those are beyond your control. As you cannot take credit when things go right, you also can't take complete blame when things go wrong. So the only reason I would put is I was there. So it came to me. So staying put is what the single line answer if I got to summarize all.
Great. So tell us a little bit about TrueElements, the journey, and what did it start off as? What is it today? I'm sure our listeners would like to know what do you do in this space.
Okay. So when I quit, I wanted to start a chain of kiosks where we were supposed to sell in between meals, healthy snacks and beverages. We started kiosk inside few IT companies across Pune and Delhi to start with. But 1 year down the line, we realized people who are coming to canteen doesn't want anything healthy. People who want healthy are not coming to canteen. Okay, they are 35 plus and they are sitting in their desk and having the meal from home and the snacks from home. But it was almost 12 months down the line. We realized we already had a bunch of products which we were selling in this kiosk. And 1 year down the line, we don't have salaries and we had products. We want to look at something where we were having a good cash flow. And another opportunity we saw while we were inside the companies were all the companies had corporate wellness budgets. So they were spending money on medical checkup. They were doing multiple interventions throughout the year. One cancer awareness, something on right sitting, something on movement, right drinking of water, multiple stuff throughout the year, but all were not connected. So we thought we could build a business using tech, whereby we could gamify the complete corporate wellness, starting with medical checkup, and even we had a scorecard whereby project managers could get a health score for their project for a year, which could be monitored over a year. So we thought we could do that. That problem is still not addressed by anybody. But again, 18 months down the line, we realized that business is really challenging to scale because every year you need to go and re-engage with the HR guys, our own fraternity, and re-engage and renegotiate. And that means we are starting the business every year fresh. And second, we didn't see that becoming a multi-million-dollar enterprise because there is some limitations in terms of how much you can grow. So from there, what we had was we had products from our first leg. Then this corporate wellness, we had services. We put all this put together into a marketplace called healthyworld.in, which was an e-commerce marketplace for health, food products and services, which we ran between 2014 to 2016, where Amazon's Amazon had come to India in 2014, 2015. So we were fighting with them bootstrapped. And we tried raising our angel in 2015 and we got a few angels investing in us. They asked a question, so how are you going to give the money back? That's the question which made us think we need to look at a business which also will have a EBITDA visibility, which we didn't have any visibility in the e-commerce business. It's a bleeding business. We didn't have any visibility. Even Amazon after 22 years became profitable in somewhere in 2010, right? So we didn't know how to run that business, so that kind of no visibility of profitability kind of business. So we thought, okay, that means we need to pivot from here. So that was 2015 and 2016. So what we did is we need to look at more products which we'll sell on our platform, which has more margins. So we got top selling products in our platform into a brand of our own called TrueElements, which is a private label brand for our platform. Okay. So we do just a private label only sold on our platform. And 2016, Amazon started the food. Okay. So we put our products also in Amazon. That's when we realized the profitability we were getting from our own products in Amazon was much better than our own products being sold in our healthy. So business wise, we didn't see this making money. So 2016 and we decided let's shut healthyworld.in and focus only on TrueElements. And subsequently, we got a VC funding, which also validated our hypothesis that this is work. So we were not aware of the current cool word, which is D2C, direct to consumer brand. When we started up, we were a private label becoming a brand. So we then became a brand. Again, the brand got sharpened and then the story of the brand philosophy got sharpened over next 12, 14 months. So we call ourselves behaving like a 100% a brand since 2017 July. That is when we have zero business from Healthy World. And today, what we do in TrueElements is we do clean label. Again, we don't call ourselves a clean label for consumers. They don't understand. Or people who understand are way too small size of the population. As such, we are good, tasty, healthy breakfast and snacks. And the philosophy of the brand is we don't want to tinker with the ingredients too much because of which the nutrients are lost. And whatever we add into the pack is only food and nothing else. So no chemicals, no sugar, no preservatives, nothing. And we do it all ourselves. We have a 55,000 square feet factory in Pune whereby we manufacture and we don't have any third-party manufacturing or we don't have any agents or anything. Everything is done in-house.
Perfect. Wonderful. So let's talk about talent now. As you scaled TrueElements and as you went through the journey of running ventures, how important was the talent element? And what is your biggest learning here? And if you have to advise startups, how do they think about talent as a strategy? And how do they make the right kind of investments in talent? What would be your advice to them?
So being an HR professional myself, since day one, we have hired or people who have worked for us are people who are from tier 2 cities with a lot of fire in the belly, right? Again, my current team, 50% of my top deck is people from my first startup. They came in as freshers and then they have done multiple roles and now they are heading some function. And not that all those guys who continued with us, but who have stayed are people whom we wanted to retain and who are the gems. Okay. Why it worked for us is, again, probably my campus hiring, learning and baggage influenced here a lot. We have traveled through India and hired. And people whom we have seen have worked are people from tier 2 who thought they don't have too many opportunities. So the opportunities they got, they grabbed it by the hand and then never let it go. Tier 1 guys always have grown up with a lot of opportunity in front. They are like the current generation. My generation had books and in class we had Xerox copies and printouts, right? We used to keep it, though we may not refer it through the year. Current generation think that I have everything in laptop, so they don't write, right? So that's the same thing. So the same way, the tier 1 guys think that opportunities are there and they don't value it. Tier 2 guys, when they get, I believe they grab it, and if you give them the right reward, and then they flourish. That's what has happened. But that also became baggage for us once TrueElements started scaling, right? Not in the first 3 companies. When TrueElements started scaling, why I'm telling that it became baggage is the culture of the company was very close knit. There was nothing externally coming in. We were all group of people like frogs in the well, and we were not getting external perspective. And as such, We consciously got some leads sometime in 2019, 2020 from outside, lateral leads. Some worked, some didn't work, right? Cultural issues. And again, the biggest problem which we also faced is the old timers need to let the new timers set in, right? That's a friction which burns down lot many companies. Also, the right balance is required. Otherwise, the core of the company's culture would get lost. So there are a lot of good elements which these old guys will have that should not be overwritten completely by the new guys. So how do you get that right equilibrium? And so probably I don't think we are completely successful there. Yeah, to an extent we have been successful there. So that's been hiring strategy and retention strategy. And when it comes to rewards, we have not been able to, let's say, pay high salaries for our most of the employees. Reason being, we are probably one of the lowest in terms of fund raised among our peers to the top line achieved, right? So we have not been able to raise too much funds like a lot of our peers, so we could not pay. So we that way democratize ESOPs a lot. So we have given ESOPs to a lot of folks. Anybody who thinks this company is his or her has an ESOP. For example, last year when we were doing the ESOP distribution, we had a flood kind of situation in our old factory. Okay, there was a cloud burst. And in that night, the two security guards who behaved the way they behaved, I was surprised. They didn't behave like security guard. They behaved like they were owner of the company more than me, right? So even my security guard, whom you will face at the gate of my factory, also has an ESOP of TrueElements. So that's been our philosophy.
Lovely. Wonderful. So one of the things that, especially when you scale your operations, scale an entity, scale an enterprise, what kind of investments are critical, especially when it comes to technology? And today, we talk of technology as a very important enabler in scaling businesses. So I just want to understand, what did TrueElements do differently? Did you make the right investments in technology or in any other investments that helped you scale your business?
Yeah, so technology has been, again, very vital to our business, not because we were running in e-commerce before, or even before that, we were running a corporate wellness gamified kind of a tech. But we had a bunch of techies since day one. And my current CTO is the same guy who coded my first website in 2013. So tech has been part of my journey throughout. Though I would say in my part of the world, which is DTC, let's say social data and AI is widely respected. REST, ERP, and the core old school technology which is required to run a factory and business operations still not got its due because there are a lot of SaaS available for throwaway price. So people go and pick what's available in the market and just run the operations. As we had an e-commerce backlog, we built the whole ERP stack, which is running my complete operations in-house. So starting from the app, which is used by my sales guy when the person is in Guwahati or in Trivandrum, is the in-house app whereby the sales guy puts the order and the order comes to my ERP, which is in-house built. Thanks to that, we also got one accolade, which is global accolade. We are part of the globally 5 clean tech companies to look out for. The reason being, we were the first Indian packaged food company whereby you could see the ingredients in the pack from farm to fork, the complete journey. Okay, we could put that out for the consumers to see. Why we put it out was because when you're telling my product is clean, it is simple process, no preservatives, we want consumer to see it. For the consumer to see it, we build this tech stack whereby when I'm growing jowar in a farm in Satara, the day it is sowed, I have the information where it is, when it is sowed, what are the conditions. And each stage till it comes to my factory, I have the information, I put it all out. And what is the process we do with that raw material, it's put out. So we build that stack as a differentiator. So you can scan the QR code and reach that. Not that many consumers are using it, but we build tech. We always believed to scale tech is required. Otherwise, at some point, it will be an impediment to growth because you can manage with Excel and SAS and kind of multiple stitching kind of solutions, but at some point, that will become an impediment. So we built it all together. I completely believe tech has to be there from day one.
Perfect. So we'll again shift back to talent, Sreejith. For an entity such as yours and for scaling up operations, scaling up these businesses, how important is your HR function? And what do you think an HR function should do? We've all been HR professionals in our past lives. But do you see the importance of the HR function in such organizations, in such enterprises? And what do you believe should be their core objective?
So That answer might surprise you, Satish. So I didn't have an HR guy till I hit around 180, 190 headcount. Okay. Hiring was decentralized. We used to have Naukri access to everyone. Everybody used to hire. You go, you hire what kind of people you want, phone, schedule, interview. So though we are right now 550 people, we only have two HRs, including one recruiter in this one. So the way we have structured is we have empowered every manager to be an HR manager than having a function running and owning it up. That's the way it has to be. But at scale, probably we are already struggling there a bit. Okay. So the strategy was that, in summary, was one, right? And I'm telling that my security guard as ESOP, it is respect. That's the talent strategy. I would put it in one: respect. If respect and recognition can be given, that's the core which has to be ingrained in the overall philosophy. That's what we have done with all the leads. Again, we are struggling now when we are scaling. Probably we need to go the conventional way of function, owning it up and getting it done, making checks and balances. Till now, we have managed it that way. So that's been our approach.
Very interesting. One last question on the talent front. You made a very interesting observation that any organization should have a good mix of homegrown talent and talent that comes from outside, so that there is a good cultural hybrid of talent within the enterprise. Now, can you give us some useful tips when you look for talent? I'm sure you also are in the constant lookout for good talent. What are the core expectations or characteristics you look for in a candidate?
So that's changed over a period of time. I don't think there's one constant answer I had, because the one biggest learning, which was one approach of hiring, which we had, let's say from 2012 to 2017, was we always thought people who have fought through in their life, that means have seen multiple failures and have still stayed put, are the people whom we thought would be the perfect fit for us. So subconsciously, we have hired a lot of guys who have gone through multiple failures in life. For example, there was one guy who went to NDA, he got kicked out medical unfit, then he did few other failures in life, and there are multiple cases like that. So we had culturally a bunch of guys who have not achieved anything in life, who are all still struggling. Okay, I don't know whether that's the right kind of summary. That, for I think 2017, Puru and I consciously called out, this is not working. So otherwise, when we used to get a resume like that, we think about this is higher. That means this fellow will not give up. He will keep fighting. But what we also realized is people who also have tasted success are also required. Otherwise, the kind of people who have only been fighting through the life, who have not tasted success, are motivated to keep fighting, but they have not seen success. So success coming or not coming doesn't matter for them. So that means their milestones are not growing with each level. In a startup like ours, every 18 months, company is changing. Milestones are changing, companies pivoting, my targets are growing much bigger than what I could dream. So those kind of change, this bunch of people were not able to adapt. So we changed that. So that's one change which we did. So that's the first phase. Second phase, as of now, we look for people who are cultural fits. Cultural fit for us is people who are to the face and who will live by the four pillars of our brand. So TrueElements, we have four pillars which we live by: true to the food, true to people, true to environment, and true to our word. So 2019 onwards, we have been using this as filters to hire or filters for any decision. So if a person has to decide whether a raw material which has come in has to be approved, there's going to be out of stock for a product, use these and decide. But again, it's a most theoretical kind of approach. You know how this is required, but end of the day, everything boils down to that decision which is coming from your core, which is more like why this tuning? This fellow will not be a problem. But again, we are also not very lenient and patient in getting rid of people. Few of my employees who are listening to this, we have due respect. I'm in touch with everyone who have worked with us since 2012. A lot of them, we would have asked them to go, but it didn't work out. So we are also not very lenient. So we get rid of people very quickly because we don't have the liberty of time and money. So you call it hire and fire. Yeah, well, that's what we have. So.
But I love the four pillars. I'll remember to use it in the next opportunity. I really love that. One last question, and I'll be failing in my duty if I don't ask you this, because the world is talking about AI. Everybody's talking about AI. So have you used AI in running your enterprise? Have you used AI in scaling your business? Have you used AI in the talent strategy or talent ecosystem?
The talent we are not used, okay, because our hiring is not that big numbers that again we are not used AI or for hiring or for filtering or none of this. But AI is used by our marketing content and content team a lot in terms of reducing the pain of creating that. So AI is being used by our marketing team, whether it is creating the right content for the audience we are making, whether it is written content or imagery, or even looking at the customer reviews in terms of feedback and analyzing and seeing what is the sentiment analysis, multiple kind of stuff. Yeah, we do that in that part where there is enough data, but in the factory, on the shop floor, and then again talent side, no, we're not used.
Thank you. So now we'll go to another segment, which is a very interesting segment. We call it the rapid fire round. So I'll ask you a few questions, Sreejith. My request to you is to keep your responses brief and to the point. So the first one, what advice will you give a company that has limited resources?
One line, hope. Keep the hope alive.
Lovely. One thing you wish you had known while you were scaling the firm, which you later realized was an important lesson for you.
Don't tell yes to everything which is coming to your way.
Okay. What was the biggest challenge you faced while scaling TrueElements?
Biggest challenge is the current market for a consumer food. That's same for all because again, so I'll take a brief to educate people if you permit. So when we started, it was just e-commerce marketplaces. Then COVID hit. Okay. Then we went back and made an omni-channel online and offline. Suddenly now it is quick commerce. So the channel, because for us the channels are very important because we're a brand. Without channels, we don't exist. So we are a direct to consumer brand. We have our own marketplace, our own website, but these channels are important. The change we have seen in last 6 years, every 2 years, the 50% of business every year, that block has changed. If 1 year it was marketplace, second year it was offline. Now this year it is quick commerce. And the whole business model, servicing, looking at analytics, looking everything has to change with that.
Okay. So the last question to you, what is the best piece of advice you have ever received, Sreejith?
Is probably I'll go to my dad. If your intention of doing good is good, outcome will be good.
Okay. Brilliant. Thank you very much, Sreejith. With that, we come to the end of this episode. Sreejith, very insightful conversations, especially on how you scaled your business effectively. And your personal learnings will be a huge motivation for people who intend to start and run their own enterprise and business. And like you rightly said, keep the hope alive, trust your instincts, stay put. And finally, the best piece of advice your dad gave you, which is stay true to being good, thinking good, and good will happen finally, is something that all our listeners will definitely take back. So thank you very much for the very insightful inputs. So to all those who tuned in, thank you very much for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Join us next time for another episode of High Chats, where we bring you the latest and the best from the world of talent and HR. And find us wherever you're listening to your favorite podcasts. Don't miss a single episode and subscribe to High Chats today. And don't forget to review or share on your social media to help us reach as many ears as possible. So kindly stay tuned. And Sreejith, once again, a brilliant conversation, and thank you very much for your time.
Thanks a lot, Sajay. It means big for me. I still have the performance review document you gave me in 2012 as my motivation. So thanks for this opportunity.
Lovely. Take care. Bye.